What's going on? What's going on, my good people? What's up? It's your boy Derek Casey coming to you live from Dallas, Texas. And I'm just picking me up some lunch, getting ready to head back to the house and just eat and relax for a little bit before I got to get back on these phones. But had a great message for you guys today. And this is just one of those videos. I was just thinking about something for this topic, and I wanted to share it with you guys, but also get some feedback from all of my parents that are out there that come across this video, because I felt like this was something that's very important to talk to my parents about. All right, and so as you see in the title, and I asked this question: as parents, should we be holding our children accountable to the things that we are not living up to ourselves? And the reason why this even came about was, you know, I'm a parent. I got 4 beautiful children, and I just remember this time, right? That and actually, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. I remember when I was a kid, I used to always hear this saying, this phrase that our parents would used to say, and that phrase would be, "Do as I say, not as I do." Okay, and I think you guys probably heard that phrase before. Do as I say, not as I do. And, you know, when I was young, you know, there's a lot of times as children, we could never question our parents, even if we seen them doing the opposite of what they was telling us not to do, or they were doing the opposite of the things that they were telling us was wrong. We could never question them because those were our parents, right? So I just remember, fast forward, you know, as I had my children and they started getting older and talking and asking questions and things like that. I remember this one particular time that I was getting on my kids because their room was a mess. And they had toys all over the place, their shoes, all of these different things, or whatever the case. So I remember going to my kids and I was like, y'all need to clean up this room. This room is a mess. You know what I'm saying? You guys are not pigs. You need to pick up after yourself, right? And as a parent, I'm telling them what they need to be doing. And then all of a sudden, my little guy comes in the room, and my room had stuff that was on the floor. You know, my shoes wasn't put into place. And he looks at me and he says, "Well, Daddy, well, how come your room is a mess? How come your room is a mess? And how come you ain't put your shoes away?" And I was like, just do what I told you to do, right? That was kind of my reaction to it. But then a while later, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, well, that was kind of the wrong reaction. That was kind of the wrong reaction to my kids, because they were holding me accountable for the same thing that I was holding them accountable for. So the reason why I bring this up, guys, is because as parents, I feel that we need to be leading by example. All right, we need to be leading by example because our kids are watching everything that we do. So when we go to them and they see us doing something, but we're telling them to do something different, then in their mind, they're going to be wondering, well, how come you're doing the exact same thing that you're telling me not to do? I mean, there's a lot of different things that we can kind of put into context with this. You know what I'm saying? As fathers, if, you know, for the men that are abusive to women, like they're abusive to their mom, you can't go to your sons and say, don't put your hand on females if you are putting your hands on females, right? You can't go to your children and say, stop being disrespectful to your mother, or for the ladies, stop being disrespectful to your father, if in front of their face you're being disrespectful to their father, or you're being disrespectful to their mother. So we can't tell our children not to do something if they see us doing something different. And the reason why I was thinking about that, because being an entrepreneur and coming into this journey, you know, I still work a full-time job, but I'm also building a business. And I just remember telling my kids things like, never give up on your dreams. You know, when things get tough, you got to push yourself through. But then there were times when things got tough for me where I just kind of threw in the towel and I quit and all of these different things. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, how can I tell my children not to quit, but I'm the one that's quitting? When things get tough, when things ain't going my way, and all of these different things, I get down on myself and I throw in the towel. So, you know, I just come to you guys and tell you, like, we have to try to change that phrase, you know what I'm saying, as parents. Do as I say, not as I do, because our children are watching everything that we do. So if we're telling them that, but we're doing the total opposite of what we're telling them, then what are we really teaching our children? What are we truly teaching our children? We have to lead from the front as parents. And the reason why I think that's important, because when we look at our economy today, what's happening with our children, we don't know what's going to happen with our children with the way that the economy is going and what they're going to have to endure in the future. So we need to be preparing them now by leading by example. Okay, so I just wanted to come on here because it was something that really hit my mind and it hit my spirit to talk about that and talk to my parents today to say, hey, listen, don't look at your kid, don't get upset at your kids if your kids hold you accountable for the very things that you're holding them accountable for. Okay, take that. And as Barry White used to say, practice what you preach. If you're going to preach that to your children, you should be living that out as well. You should be pursuing those things as well. But don't get upset at your children if they call you out on your shortcomings. If they call you out on the things that you're telling them that they're doing wrong, but you're doing those same things wrong. Don't get mad at your children. Take that information and use that to say, you know what? I need to change myself because I need to be doing the things that my children should be doing instead of telling them what they should be doing when I'm not living up to what I'm telling them to do. All right. So I just wanted to share that. Drop your comments. What do you feel about that? Do you feel that as parents, we should hold our children accountable for the things that as parents we're not living up to? Okay, that's what I wanted to ask because, man, I love children. I have my babies. When people come to me and they got kids, I feel like they my own kids. And I just feel like we need to step up as parents because this society is very unkind. This society is it's all up in shambles. And we got to be able to start teaching our children how to walk, how to talk, how to carry themselves. But we can't just tell them to do that. We got to show them how to do it. We got to show them how to do it. But once again, we can't get mad at our kids if our kids come back and hold us accountable for the very things that we holding them accountable for. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up, Cassandra? Yeah, I was just, you know what I'm saying? And that's so true. Because and I know you just hopped on here, and if you just hopped on here, you know what I'm saying, this is what it's about. Because like I remember when my parents used to tell us the same thing when I was little. They would be like, do as I say, not as I do. And when I was young, I never really understood it. I just knew that I had to obey my parents. You know what I'm saying? I never questioned. You know, as children, you didn't question your parents because back then you could get whoopings. You know what I'm saying? Go pick your switch off that tree, right? Bring that butt here. You don't question my authority, right? That's how it was. But when I became a parent, and this really stuck out to me, when my kids came up, and I just remember this time, man, I was like, yo, y'all go clean up your room because y'all shouldn't have your shoes all over the place. Y'all shouldn't be doing these different things or whatever the case. And then all of a sudden, my little guy comes in and say, well, why your room dirty? Why your shoes not put away? And then as parents, we want to fall back and be like, well, you don't, who you talking to like that, right? We want to get on our kids, but are our children wrong? You know what I'm saying? Are our children wrong for holding us accountable? If I told them to clean their room and why their room needs to be clean, and they come in my room and my room not clean, is my children wrong for questioning me on that? Right? Are your children wrong for questioning you on that, right? Because that's what you holding your children accountable to. And that's exactly what it is. And the reason why I say that we got to lead by example, and that whole phrase, do as I say, not as I do, it's like, this is how we teach our kids. If you're in a household and, like for men, you being disrespectful to the mom in the home, and then your child comes out and becomes disrespectful to the mom, you can't go get on them and say, oh, well, you in this household, you ain't gonna be disrespectful to your mom, because guess what your child or your children are watching you do? Be disrespectful to their mom, right? You know, you gotta think of it in that context. You can't go to your children and say, oh, you got to do all your work and you can don't ever give up when times get tough. But then when times get tough, they watching you give up and crumble when times get tough. So I just wanted to come on here and express that to you guys, man, the importance behind living up to what you hold your children accountable to. Living up to it. Not just talking about it, but living up. have to lead by example. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. I want you guys to share your thoughts. If you're a parent and got children, if you agree with what I'm saying, man, let me know. If you don't agree with it, you got a different view on it, man, I would love to hear from the parents, like just to kind of hear about that phrase. What do you feel about that phrase as a parent? Do as I say, not as I do. Like, put that in the comments and tell me what that means to you. Have you ever used that phrase to your kids? And the next question is, guys, is it okay for you to get upset at your kids if they question the very things that you're holding them accountable to if you're not living up to it? I want you guys to drop some comments. I would love to see what people think about that, all right? So that being said, I got my lunch. I'm about to go grab me something to eat, kick it for a little bit so I can finish up the rest of my day. But, man, I can't wait to look on here and see these comments and see what you guys think of that, all right? So that being said, love you guys. God bless. Y'all enjoy.